Cassie here. Welcome back to my channel. Just a quick disclaimer for this video. I am doing a critical reading of the book P.S. I Love You by Jenny Han. And if this is like your favorite book in the world and you just can't stand to see anybody say anything negative about it, then maybe this isn't the video series for you. I will be doing a critical reading of this book, critiquing the things I don't like and pointing out some of the things that I do like. But I want to remind you all that this is not for the sake of just crapping all over someone's work and making fun of it and just having fun laughing at someone for being a bad writer. This is primarily for educational reasons. I am an author and I have watched videos like this myself, and I feel that I learn so much from hearing what people don't like about a book and even like the little details. So I might be getting a little bit critical here and picking on the tiny things, but that's because I think that that helps us all to become better writers and see what not to do, what sounds a little bit off, and how to do it better. So now that that disclaimer is out of the way, let's get back to the reading. Hey guys, it's that time again, and let's see, we're on chapter 39. So let's get into it. What's happening? So, oh yeah, they're playing assassins. That's pretty much the whole subplot that's happening here. Which, I mean, things are actually happening now compared to like the previous amount of the book, but it is kind of funny to say that like what's happening in this book right now is that they're playing essentially tag. That's like the plot that's going on at the moment. So, Lara Jean's at Bellevue and she's running cocktail hour, and she's like super disappointed that not many people showed up because she's worried that Jeanette's gonna cancel it. And it's just kind of weird because it's like, again, as I said before, I barely even remember, like, why this hasn't really been established as being something that's really important to her. It was just like a few chapters ago, Jeanette, this new character we've never heard of, was like, we might cancel cocktail hour, which is also a thing we've never heard of. And Lara Jean was like, what? You can't cancel cocktail hour? It would be horrible. And I just don't understand why she cares, because we've never heard about her caring about this or even being really involved in Bellevue stuff at all until very recently. So there are no stakes in this for me, but apparently cocktail hour might get canceled because hardly anybody showed up. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Plot twist! Okay, whoa. That kind of blew my mind, and I don't know why. I never saw that coming. Okay, so Lara Jean's running cocktail hour, and she sees John Ambrose McLaren walks in, and she hides because she's like, what the heck is he doing here? And she doesn't want him to see her and run off because she has his name for the game, and she's like, this is my perfect chance to tag him. And so, but then, Stormy calls out for Lara Jean and says she wants to introduce her to someone, and that someone is John because she is his grandma, which is crazy. Stormy kept saying through the whole book, or the like 3 times we've seen her, she's always talking about wanting to set up Lara Jean with her grandson, and her grandson is John, which is awesome. Again, though, it's immediately met with sadness on my part because I know she's gonna end up with Peter, and I'm like, what the heck, you're stupid. But anyway, that's crazy. I did not see that coming. Good job, Jenny Han, on setting that up. Either that or I'm just oblivious. I am really bad at guessing plot twists, honestly. Like, historically terrible at that. So now Lara Jean and John are dancing together at cocktail hour, and Lara Jean has his name, and she just keeps thinking about like beating him in the game. Oh my gosh, I just like spit everywhere. Anyway, she just keeps thinking of like the game and how like this would be the perfect time to tag him out, and I don't really buy that that would be what she's thinking about when she's dancing with this handsome boy that she clearly has a crush on. And she's like not thinking at all about that he's cute or that it's fun that they're like so close and he has his hand on her back and stuff. It's just a little like weird to me. It's not very believable to me that she wouldn't be thinking those things. So yet again, another like deep moment is interrupted by Lara Jean just changing the subject into something really superficial and not communicating like in a proper way. It just bugs me that she does that all the time. She and Peter do that all the time, and she's doing it with John now too. Like, John was asking, so you and Peter are together, huh? And he said that he was surprised to hear that, and because, I mean, he says, he doesn't say this directly, but basically he's saying that he thought that she might be into him because of, like, the way they were talking to each other and her inviting him to the treehouse and writing him that letter, and, like, they were writing back and forth for a while, and then instead of, like, saying anything on subject or important, she just says, do you know what I remember? And he says, what? And she says, the time Trevor's shorts split open when you guys were playing basketball, and everybody was laughing so hard that Trevor started getting mad, but not you. You got on your bike and you rode all the way home and brought Trevor a pair of shorts. I was really impressed by that. Like, that's a really nice thing to say to someone, but it's just weird because it's another moment where, like, communication should happen. You should be saying, like, you should be recognizing that he's saying, I thought you might be into me, and you should say either, maybe I was, or you should say, sorry I led you on, I'm with Peter, or something. Like, communicate in some way other than just changing the subject to something else that's less important. So Lara Jean tagged John out finally and told him that she had his name, and now she has Kavinsky because, or Peter, I say Kavinsky because that's what he said. Now she has Peter because that's who John had, and he's gonna help her, John's gonna help her tag out Peter. And she asked him what he would have asked for if he won. And he said, your peanut butter chocolate cake with my name written in Reese's Pieces. Which is super cute because he loves her and she's a dummy. So chapter 40 started with Lara Jean and Peter on the phone, and Peter asked if she has him in the game because he's just tired of not being able to see her, and he said, if you do have me, like, just tag me so it can be over because I just want to hang out with you. And she was trying to figure out if he had her name, and trying to, like, sneakily figure out if he told Genevieve whether or not he has her, and he said no to both of those questions. But what I just thought of is Peter has to have Lara Jean's name, because if he doesn't, then Genevieve, or yeah. Wait. Oh my gosh, I confused myself so much. Okay, no. The opposite of what I just said is the case. Peter can't have Lara Jean's name, because if oh my gosh. If Peter had Lara Jean's name, then that would mean that Genevieve has her own name, and that would be impossible. Which, the reason I realized that is because I was thinking, what happens if, like, obviously if they're drawing from the hat or whatever, and they pick their own name, they can just say right then, oh, I picked my own name, and pick a different name instead. But what happens if, like, if Genevieve has Lara Jean's name, let's say, then what happens if Lara Jean had Genevieve's name, and she tagged Jen first, and then she got her own name? Then what happens? She can't tag herself, but then she also doesn't have another name to be able to tag someone else. So there are some holes in this game. I'm not sure how that would work exactly. But anyway, through the amazing powers of deduction, I have figured out that Peter does not have Lara Jean's name, because if he did, then Jen would have her own name, and that wouldn't make any sense. Which also means that Peter and Jen must be in some kind of alliance, because why? Because Chris mentioned that Peter and Jen have been hanging out a lot, and if Peter doesn't have Lara Jean's name, then he has to have Jen's name. And so if they've been hanging out, then obviously he hasn't tagged Jen. Unless he did tag Jen, and then Jen would be out, and he would have Lara Jean's name. But nobody has said that Jen is out, so I don't think that's the case. I think Peter has Jen's name, which begs the question, why hasn't he tagged her yet? Interesting. We shall see. Oh, also, Lara Jean made this plan to tag out Peter at his lacrosse game, because she told him that she wasn't going to be able to come, but she is going to come, and she's going to get all dressed up and stuff with the team colors and surprise him, and he'll be all excited, and then she'll tag him. And John is going to pick her up to take her there, because he wants to see Peter get tagged. So there we go. So we'll see what happens. Also, the lacrosse game is at John's school, which I kind of missed that line at first. So I was like, wait, why would John have to pick her up to drive her there? And she said something about she didn't want to get lost. That was confusing. But it's at John's school, so that makes sense. Oh, okay. Lara Jean just said that she's like bouncing up and down in her seat in John's car because she's so excited. And she said, Peter will be proud of me for pulling this off. I know he will. Oh, I don't think so. I think he's gonna be mad that you lied to him and said that you didn't have his name when you could have just, like, come over and tagged him out, and then he wouldn't be in the game anymore like he wanted to, so that you guys could hang out. So we'll see which of us is right. I think it's gonna be me. Oh my gosh, you guys. John continues to be so adorable and sweet. He just told her a story that he was going to ask her to the 8th grade formal, and he had these flowers and sticks that he arranged into the letters formal ? In front of her window, but her dad came home while he was doing it and thought that he was cleaning people's yards, so he gave him $10, and John just got nervous and went home and never asked her. And now she's wondering, what would that have felt like to have a boy do something like that for me? And yeah, that's a really nice thing to wonder. And this is why this boy is so great and so sweet and amazing and so much better than bickering with Peter all the time. I don't get it. Oh snap, the bus just showed up to the school with all the lacrosse play. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. The bus just showed up at the school with all the lacrosse players, and Peter wasn't in it. So she texted him, "Where are you?" And he hasn't answered, and she's worried because apparently he never misses a game, and he even played when he had the flu. So what's going on? Oh my gosh, he's at home with Genevieve. Okay, so Lara Jean and John just drove up to his house, and he's standing on the street with his arms wrapped around Genevieve, and she's got her face buried in his chest, and he's saying something in her ear and petting her hair tenderly. So I think we're about to maybe find out if Jen really does have, like, these family problems she's always saying she has, and what they are, and why, like, what their connection is. But boy, oh boy, this is a weird situation. I would not be thrilled about this. Alright, so John drove her home, and she said she's gonna ask Peter to come over, and she's gonna tag him out. And she texted Peter, "Come over after you've finished hanging out with Genevieve," and he said, "Okay," which is a weird response, because how would she know that he was hanging out with Genevieve? And it's just, I don't know. It's like, I mean, she recognized that it was weird. She said, "Just okay, no denials, no explanations or clarifications," and she's finally starting to, like, get a freaking clue about this situation, because she says, all this time I've been making excuses for him. I've been trusting Peter and not trusting my own gut. Why am I the one making all these concessions, pretending to be okay with something I'm not actually okay with, just to keep him? And, like, it's frustrating because I think I know what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is that, well, let's see if I'm right, but I think what's going to happen is that Peter's going to explain whatever Jen's going through, and it's going to be something really big and serious, and then Lara Jane's going to, like, forgive him and be like, okay, I understand, or something, and I just don't think that that's fair. Like I said before, at some point I've said this, I believe, that, like, unless it's something that only Peter can help her with, I don't understand the need for him to be with her so much. We hear in this book more about Peter hanging out with Jen than we do about Peter hanging out with Lara Jean. Like, far more. So I don't understand why it's necessary for him to be with her so much, and for him to be, like, the only one she can go to for help with this, and for him to not be able to tell Lara Jean about it is just a little weird. Like, I feel like if I were in that situation, meaning if I were in Peter's shoes, and I had a man in my life who, like, really needed help with something, and I honestly, I can't see myself even being the person, I can't see myself, I feel like I would just try to find someone else who can help them. Like, if you really need this and you're my ex-boyfriend and I'm with someone else now, it's not necessarily appropriate for us to have this intimate of a shared thing. And absolutely is it not appropriate for us to have such an intimate shared thing that is also a secret. I feel very uncomfortable with that. I've been put in that position before where, like, male friends, and I'm not even talking about male exes, just male friends in general. So this is already worse than that, but I've been put in situations where male friends have wanted to open up to me about something, and I've told them, like, I'm not, like, gonna go blab all your secrets to everybody, but I am going to tell my husband. If you tell me some intimate secret, like, I don't feel comfortable having an intimate secret where I'm the only one who knows this without telling my husband. That's just breeding ground for dangerous things. It really is. And that's, like I said, I'm just talking about male friends of mine, not someone I was, like, in love with and have had sex with and been in a relationship with for years. That's even more of a reason to have higher levels of boundaries there. I will say, though, this book is getting better, because this is maybe the first time that I've been like, I was actually gonna stop here, and I'm, like, really excited to keep reading and find out what's gonna happen, because I feel like she might maybe break up with Peter, and I'm, like, really excited for that. So I think I'm gonna read the next chapter because I want to see what's gonna happen. So this is a thing that bugs me. You know, people have different opinions about trust and what trust is and how freely you should give it. And Peter just keeps telling her it isn't what you think it is. And, like, if you had seen everything, you'd know it wasn't anything like what you're saying. But he won't say what it is. He's just saying it's not what you think it is. And it's like, there's only so much trust you can give to someone who doesn't give you anything in return. I understand that trusting someone is, like, you need to trust in them even when you don't know all the details, because then it wouldn't really be trust if you knew everything. But I feel like trust has to be earned, and I don't feel like Peter has really done enough to earn the right to have some huge secret with his ex-girlfriend that's so, like, intimate and important in his life. I don't feel like he's done enough to earn that right. Personally, I would not be comfortable with that. Even if nothing that's going on with him and Jen is romantic, I still would probably, if I were Lara Jean, I think I would just say, you know, like, even if you're not still in love with her. I don't want to be with someone who has like so many secrets and this strange relationship with their ex that they're not willing to tell me anything about. That makes me uncomfortable. And like I said, he just hasn't earned that trust yet. Trust isn't just something that you give to anybody at the drop of a hat. They have to earn it first. And he hasn't really done anything to earn it, in my opinion. Yes! Yes! Finally! Laura Jean says, I deserve better than that. I deserve to be someone's #1 girl. And Peter says, you are. And she says, no, I'm not. She is. And that is absolutely true. Jen has been his #1 girl this whole time. He always chooses her over Laura Jean every time. So again, it goes back to what I said about he hasn't earned the right to have this weird secret relationship with his ex when he continuously puts her needs above Laura Jean's needs and will not tell Laura Jean why, which I understand the feeling of like it's not my secret to tell or something, but I feel like this is a different situation. And this is a situation where, like I said before, if I were in Peter's position, I would say, I'm not comfortable keeping a secret from my girlfriend about you, my ex-girlfriend. It's just not, like, that's gonna ruin my current relationship because that's weird. She says he's keeping her secret, and she says, from what? From me? What have I ever done to her? And he said, you took me away from her. You became my most important person. And she very accurately says, but I'm not, though. She is. Because how can you say that she's your most important person? Laura Jean, like, that's not true at all. We have seen so much. Like I said, more of this book has been Peter spending time with Jen and talking to Jen than it has him talking to Laura Jean. And even when he talks to Jen, it's like some deep emotional stuff is going on, and when he talks to Laura Jean, it's like, yo, you like pizza? I like pizza too. Like, let's make out, you know? And it's just, it's so stupid, the notion that Laura Jean is his most important person. I'm sorry, but you don't act like it in any way at all. Oh my gosh! He just said, okay, she, again, just spouting more awesome truth, said, you know how I know she's your most important person? Because you pick her every time. And he said, that's bullshit. When I found out she took that video, I told her that if she ever hurt you again, we were done. Which is ridiculous, because he said that he didn't believe Laura Jean, that Jen took the video, and Laura Jean didn't know that Peter knew this whole time that it was Jen. So, I really hope she breaks up with him. But if she does, they're just gonna get back together. So, I don't know what the use is. Okay, so all of my hopes and dreams came true, and she broke up with Peter. But I'm like 100% sure that that's not gonna last. I'm gonna stop reading there, so I'll be on chapter 42 when we get back to it. We're getting pretty close-ish. This is what I have left. So, yeah. Like I said, I've heard, I think, from people that she ends up with Peter in the end. I don't know if that means in the end of this book or in the end of the next book, which I am not gonna be reading, by the way. There's no way. I can't do it. I can't. Even for like a video series like this, it's just, I don't think I can do it. Unless the rest of this book is just phenomenal or something, then maybe I might give it a chance. But I'll probably just maybe look up online how it all ends or something so I can better judge, I guess, the series as a whole. But I'm pretty sure she ends up with Peter, which is so super dumb. If she doesn't and I'm wrong, then this book is not as bad as I thought. But for now, I'll just be happy. I'll stop there and just kind of rest in the fact that she and Peter are no longer together. And maybe she'll get together with John and be able to see what having a boyfriend should actually look like and how people should actually treat their girlfriends. So yeah, that was actually a pretty good couple chapters. Lots of interesting things happened and some things that made me happy, at least temporarily. So, gonna stop there for now and I'll get back to it later. Hello, it is time to read more of this book, and I'll be honest with you, I don't wanna. I've had several occasions over the last couple days where I could have read some more, and I just didn't because I really didn't want to. Oh yeah, I forgot that Lara Jean and Peter broke up. That perked me up a little bit. So she just said the next chapter started with Peter and me, our breakup. It's all so very high school. Honey, your whole relationship was so very high school. And she did mention that they are 16 and 17, which I can officially say now because I wasn't sure, I couldn't quite remember, but I thought they were about that age, that 16 and 17 is too old to be as immature as they are. They could definitely have a much more substantial, mature relationship than they did. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I haven't really had much to say because it's just been about, Lara Jean being sad about Peter, and then she and the old people are planning their party they're going to be having soon, and then these two old ladies got in a fight, and she said, will you stop fighting? I can't take it today, and she started crying, and it says they exchange a look, and then they both rush to my side. Darling, what's wrong? Stormy croons. It must be a boy. Yep, because that is all that is happening ever in Lara Jean's life, so obviously it must be a boy. She can't possibly be crying for some other reason. Okay, so chapter 42 was just pretty much just planning the party with the old people. It was a nice chapter. Two of the older ladies helped Lara Jean kind of feel better about Peter and talked about their own first loves and how, like, it's just your first love and you'll get over it and you'll find someone else someday and stuff like that. So it was good, but it was not really anything to comment on because there wasn't anything particularly bad about it. So I decided to start chapter 43, and Chris just showed up in Lara Jean's house to ask if she's still upset about Peter, and she's saying that she is, and she said, I hate to say it, but this has been a train wreck from the start, and I would agree with that. She said the way you guys got together was weird, and then the whole hot tub video thing, which again I agree with, but then she says, although I will say that it was probably good for you to go through all that. You were really shattered, hun, or you were really sheltered, hun. You can be very judgmental. Like, really, your best friend is going through a breakup right now and super sad, and you just come over to tell her that she's super judgmental? And I don't even really agree with that. I mean, I guess Lara Jean sort of judged Peter a little bit, but I haven't really seen her to be, like, very judgmental of a person. I don't know. It's not really the best time to say something like that to your best friend to cheer her up. And then she basically says that she should get over it. Well, she doesn't just say that. She says, don't be sad for too long. It's not your style, which is still kind of, like, flippant and not very helpful. And then she says that she should date John, and that he's totally into her and stuff, and she says that she can't think about anyone else but Peter right now, which is understandable. However, she has been thinking about John quite a bit already, so I think she'd be capable of thinking about him a little bit still. And then we skip forward to class where Peter's still sitting in front of her, and she's like saying how sad it is to like be so close to him but still feel like so far away from him, basically. And she said, for a minute there it was really good. It was really, really good. wasn't it good? I think it's funny that she has to ask things like that to herself in her own mind, like, wasn't our relationship good? No, it really wasn't, actually. It definitely wasn't really, really good. It was, at most, like, fine. Aww. That's kind of crappy. Peter said that he wants his necklace back, which is, like, that's really unfair. You gave her that as a gift. I understand it was probably expensive, but it's not like it was an engagement ring or something where it's like, okay, I only gave you this because we were going to get married and now we're not, so I need it back. That's different. This is just a gift that you gave her for Christmas. What right do you have to demand that she give it back to you? That's just crappy. So that chapter ends with Peter taking his necklace back, and she can't get the clasp undone, so he has to come do it, and it's like sadly reminiscent of him putting it on her to begin with. That's just really crappy. I understand it was probably expensive, but that's not cool. I don't like that. Honestly, I don't know what I would do in that situation. I would probably say no, you can't have it back because you gave it to me as a present, and even if she's not gonna wear it, like, Lara Jean's a very sentimental person. Like, she was talking about how Stormy has all these, like, old trinkets from old boyfriends, and this is, like, the only thing that she has, besides, like, the poem he wrote her and, like, little, you know, paper kind of things, but this is, like, the only tangible gift that she has from him, and now she has to give it back. And I just don't think that that's fair. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think it's fair for someone to demand that you give them back a gift that they gave you just because you broke up? Because I don't. I don't think that's fair. Some people probably wouldn't want to keep something like that anyway, but Lara Jean is very sentimental, and she has like this whole little box of her old love letters to old boys that she liked, and now some things from Peter in it, so obviously that's something that would be really special to her from her first love, and I just think it's crappy that he's making her give it back to him. So anyway, even though they're broken up, Peter's still the worst. I'm gonna stop there because I gotta go eat breakfast, so I guess I'll read more of this later. Just kidding, my husband's not ready for breakfast yet, so I'm gonna read at least one more chapter because it's super short. So let's get into chapter 44. Okay, so Kitty just came into Lara Jean's room and asked if she and Peter broke up, and she said yes, and she said, "You don't deserve him." So that's really crappy. This is so sad. This is making me really sad for Lara Jean because Kitty's just being a huge jerk. Partially, probably because she's young and she doesn't get it. Like, she's saying, Lara Jean's saying that she broke up with him because he still has feelings for Jen. And she's like, well, did you see him kiss her? And she said no, but, and she's like, but nothing. And she's just like so pissed at Lara Jean for breaking up with Peter, which is really, really unfair because she absolutely should have broken up with Peter. He was not a very good boyfriend at all. And she deserves much better than Peter, actually. Oh my gosh, I hate it when people do this. Okay, I hate this so much. So she says, I want to tell her that he knew it was Genevieve who made that video, spread it around. He knew and he still protected her, but I can't mar her little girl notion of who Peter is. It would be too cruel a thing to do to her. No, it wouldn't. It would be real and explaining real life to her. You can't just, like, I just hate it when people shelter children like this, especially children Kitty's age. It's not like she's like super little. And she's in here yelling at you and being a huge jerk about your breakup. So she really should understand better, and you should tell her the truth so that she doesn't continue to like be mad at you forever for breaking up with Peter when it was completely not your fault at all. I just don't understand that at all. I would completely, absolutely tell her. It's such a weird thing to me to not want to like mar someone's view of a person when their view of that person is wrong. It's like, shouldn't you want them to know truth? Not to like continue to think that this person is really great when they've actually done some really terrible things. I mean, I just don't get that at all. Maybe if it was like I can maybe see that being a temptation if we're talking about like divorced parents not wanting to mar their view, the children's view of the other parent, because that's their parent, and that's a little bit of a trickier situation. But when it comes to this, it's like, just tell her the truth. Tell her what kind of a person Peter actually is, and don't let her just continue to be mad at you for no reason. Alright, so that chapter was pretty much just Kitty yelling at her for breaking up with Peter, and then a little snippet of her dad asking her how she's doing and stuff, and that's pretty much it. There's really not much to it. Guess I'm gonna stop there? Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. So, lots of not very interesting things. So we will get back to it later. Alright, so that's gonna be it for this week's video. I hope you've enjoyed watching me read this awful book. I have not enjoyed reading it, but that's alright. I do what I can to please you all. No, I'm just kidding. It's been relatively fun, I guess. Anyway, that's it. I'll see y'all next time and have a great day. Bye!